Warning, this break has explicit content.
It's a Thinkergirls on KIIS, Stacey, June and Kristie Mercer here with you, talking all the thoughts you are thinking but not saying.
Yeah, and we are very true to that tagline right now because to be honest, I've never actually spoken even to any of my mates about this, or anybody really, because there is an element of me that questions whether me liking this during sex and in the bedroom with my boyfriend is normal.
And we want to have a real open conversation about it, and we will introduce a therapist very soon to this conversation to help you kind of dissect the way through. But I suppose it is really goes without saying that to have these kinds of open conversations and to be able to share where you're feeling and to dissect them, you need to understand that it is all a very case-by-case scenario. In no ways are we kind of encouraging or telling everybody to go out there and try this. I suppose it's just a conversation to try and put a few things straight and try and make some clarity around a situation that I guess you want to ask some questions. Is this normal?
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I've never actually done this with anybody apart from my boyfriend. I was just trying to think back through past sexual partners, but the only time that I've ever felt in a safe enough space to kind of do this is with my man of 7 years. And it's whilst we're having sex where he will put his grip around my neck as we're in the middle of things. I find that a huge turn on.
It's kind of rough almost, would you say?
Yeah, and look, it's not every time because, I mean, different times and different occasions calls for different sex. But when things are a bit more turned up and a bit raunchier and a little bit rougher, which at times I do really enjoy, I have found myself really getting off by him putting his hand around my neck.
Yeah.
Now, not to the point where he is stopping me being able to breathe or like I'm still obviously able to breathe through my mouth. So it's not a strangling thing, but there is part of me that really gets off from that and it has actually wondered in the past and right now whether there's some kind of dark underlying stuff and whether that is actually normal to really enjoy that.
Well, I think we all need to be able to speak about what gives us pleasure and be able to explore that in a safe space. And Pamela Supple joins us. She's a sex and relationship therapist and director of Sex Therapy Australia. Welcome to the show, Pamela.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah.
Hey, Pamela.
Oh, really good.
Hello.
If this is something that you wanted to explore pleasure-wise, like Kristie says, I mean, I know that there's that idea of like a rougher element of sex that then goes into that territory that if it's in a bad scenario isn't always great. How do you go about even talking about it with a partner or even considering it safely?
Well, to consider it safely is the first thing is I would suggest is as long as you're safe with the person that you're with, and then being able to discuss that with the person. Like, I don't know which one of you said before, but you actually quite enjoy doing it with your partner every now and then. Mm-hmm. And it's because you trust them and you feel safe with them. So it's very important to have a safe space to be able to do this.
Yeah, and we've done it to each other. Like I've done it to him and he's done it back to me at certain times during sex. But Pamela, why is it a turn on? Like, is there some kind of underlying reason as to why this would be kind of hot that I find?
Well, that's up to you, isn't it? If you like it, try and not pathologise yourself here or the whole aspect of this. Some people like a little bit of rough when they're having sex, and if you're into that, that's okay. But again, as long as it's safe.
It's interesting. It's interesting, Pamela, because you go to that and you say don't try and categorise yourself. But as women, I think we compare and we get embarrassed, and particularly with sex, I think we're also very, I guess, muted a little bit with this conversation. So a lot of the times you don't feel comfy talking to your girlfriend. So do you think this isn't something we should be questioning? Like, do you not necessarily think that it's a bad thing?
Well, if you are uncomfortable, see, these sorts of things are considered taboo for a lot of people, right? Mm-hmm. And when something is considered taboo, especially for women, we tend to keep that to ourselves a little bit because we might be seen in not a very ladylike light, if you want to put it that way, which is unfortunate because we all are all out there and we all like different likes and dislikes regarding sex. So it isn't spoken about, but there are good sides to this and there are bad sides. But if you're just playing and when I say just, well, if you're encountering this in your relationship with your partner and you both know how far to go, that's between you two. And you know, it's something that if you're okay with your partner to do it, that's pretty sacred to you two. If you don't want to talk about it with your friends, well, that's understandable because a lot of people don't actually quite understand other people's sex lives.
Yeah. I think the key to this, though, is definitely, and what, Pamela, you've mentioned, and for everybody, you know, even thinking about something that they might like at home, is that the key is to trusting the person you're with. I think these types of things, I mean, it's certainly not something that I'm, you know, openly exploring, not being with somebody in a committed relationship. And you might be able to find other people that you trust, and it may not look like a 7-year marriage, but at the same time, I think that might be the key here.
Yeah, the person that you're actually with and that trust.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Pamela Supple, sex and relationship therapist and director of Sex Therapy Australia. It's been really insightful getting you onto the show tonight and essentially setting a pretty good message, which is, well, everybody's individual.
That's right. And just to make sure that you're safe and that if any time you want to stop, you know, you have a safe word or you just say, I've had enough.
Thanks, Pamela. It's the Thinkergirls on KIIS.